Kimataan yafinidin an resi, kima I aklavidin kimataan. Katsum kima I afesiadin pilexisa resi, katsum kima I baplaan upan resi. Kima da upmud sayum unfaasi fadadin, kima I fate un katsum tafaliad linka a. Katsum deasin sa uri kima ila, katsum dayen kima I bien kima ila. Katsum skifle mamti, kima I mbi kima saba, kima I timfam sa ali. Before we get into the language, I'd just like to shout my boy Seb's Pokemon. He's a Pokemon YouTuber, and he hopes for at least 15 subs before 2025 rears its indiscernible head over the calendar. Now, given the date that this video is going to be published, this sub count isn't going to be that likely to be reached, but if we can at least give him, like, maybe 7-ish subs, that would still be fantastic for his channel. So I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. Hope you enjoy him, but anyway, back to Kwo'o. Kwo'o, the very cute language that I intended on releasing several weeks ago, but I did not due to me being too lazy to have an actual upload schedule. Hope you enjoy. Kwo'o was a language made by a few ships worth of Birexish people who tried sailing to Opam, but due to rough weather, they were sent to Tavari Island instead. They adapted to their home quite well, and while they were there, and still are, they were making up a Conlang for more abbreviated and simple communication, and for some fun as well, which eventually evolved into Kwo'o. The name itself directly translates to cute language, because the people speaking it felt like it was friendly, fun, and generally a nicer take on language as a whole. Kwo'o is an art lang I started working on in mid-September of 2024. I made it to be as cute and friendly as possible. This means that there are no guttural sounds, via orthoglottal, except for g and This provides a friendlier experience as it isn't harsh, and it is cuter because W is pronounced like a labiopalatal approximant. This sounds roughly like the. I got the idea from looking at a showcase of the Conlang Leluta, and I decided that I would release it on the 24th of November, which is the 1-year anniversary of this channel's existence. However, I am very lazy, as I have previously stated, and do not have a good upload schedule. You're going to get this in mid-September, hopefully. And also, I will be making a video on the Birexish language that Kwo'o is descended from, but that'll probably be next year, January or February, roughly, but it could also go even further than that, to be honest. Enough blabbering about the backstory, lore, and detail of this language. It is now time to unravel what it actually holds. And there's no better way to start with this uncovery of the language than with discussing the phonology. So the phonology of Kwo'o is fairly simple, maybe a little bit unnaturalistic. Definitely not what your average English speaker is going to be able to pronounce. Pretty weird, but people get used to it. So the consonants in this language are ma, na, ba, da, ga, ba, da, ra, la, ya, fa, and sa. The vowels of Kwo'o are I, E, A, and A. So, here's a pronunciation guide for the phonology I just showed. So, some of these sounds are a little hard, so I'll lend you a hand. P, T, and K are like the English P, T, and K, except they're unaspirated, meaning you don't add that little extra puff of air at the end of the sound. So, in English, P would be pronounced pa. In Kwo'o, P would be pronounced ba. I'm not saying ba, I'm saying ba. No voicing, but no puff of air at the end, right in the middle. And for W, pronounce the W, then instead of the back of your tongue doing the articulation, have the middle of the tongue do it. So instead of wa, you get the. To pronounce the quotation mark and apostrophe, make the sound people make when they usually do the thing of wa. So the sound that you hear, that's shown by the apostrophes right over here, is basically that sound. And the quotation mark is the capital version of the apostrophe. All syllables are CCVN, and there are no diphthongs that can take place in any word ever. So, here's the grammar. In Wonen, there are only a few grammatical rules to follow, but they are a bit bizarre for somebody who speaks like English or any of the major languages. So, first, all Wonen text must be written in the Conlang typeface to make it seem like handwriting and thus cuter. You can see that all instances of Wonen text in this presentation have been written in the Conlang typeface, and it gives it like a more emphasized appearance and makes it look cuter and whatnot. You will also have seen it in the story signs for the Wonen text and elsewhere in the presentation. Number 2, a declarative sentence is SVO, so any statement you make. An imperative sentence is VSO, which is any demand. An inquisitive sentence is VOS, which is a question. And a sentence where the action goes both ways is SOV. So, let's say you have the sentence, he fights her. Well, the fighting is going both ways, so you would change it to he, her fights. Number 3, adjectives come before nouns. This is exactly like in English. You don't have to change anything for that one. Number 4, there's no copula, which is like your is, are, be, etc. Because the copula is basically just a verb that manages to turn like an adjective noun thing into an entire sentence, which is honestly kind of not really that interesting. So we can remove the copula here, and then we follow the adjectives before nouns rule to create the countries near the ocean to the near ocean country. Number 5, the language is base 6, which is not that common as far as I'm aware, but it might be more common in like other languages. Number 6, plurality can be inferred if you have an adjective that is a number being applied to a noun. So basically, it would be like, okay, so let's have an English sentence where sa is just alone and is the plural marker, and then you have the actual word. So like, sa apple would be like plural apple, and then if you wanted to say two apples, it would be two apples. So the plural marker is around only when there isn't like a definite number. And number 7, sentences that relate to each other are to be linked with a comma. So here's an example in English. I have 10 containers. Containers have food. So you can see the comma kind of like ties these two statements together. And wow, these two statements, if there's a period right here, they would be completely unrelated. But the comma makes it seem like they interact with each other. So this would, in a way, be, I have 10 containers that have food. You see? So yeah, here, those are the grammatical rules. They're very weird, but hey, anything to make it a lot simpler. You know, have fun speaking that, have fun thinking in that. So now we have number words. So we're going to kindergarten for Kwo'o instead of English. So the numbers in Kwo'o work similarly as they do in English, as the place values function the same way, but just can contain different amounts. So Kwo'o uses base 6 instead of 10 as stated previously. And here are the number words. 0 is ba, 1 is be, 2 is di, 3 is da, 4 is ga, and 5 is And if you were to count to 7 and beyond in English, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But in Kwo'o words, it would look like be, ti, da, ga, bepa, bebe. And the reason why these are 2 of these number words is that, well, it's base 6, so we're going to move into the double digits a lot sooner than we would for base 10. And this quite literally means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 0, 1, 1. This is probably the hardest part of Kwo'o because counting in a whole other system is utterly mind-boggling. I myself can barely even count this thing, so I had to like use a base converter for like some sentences or whatever in the Google Docs. Yeah, so those are the numbers, and on to the next slide. Now we have our imperative and inquisitive words. So, as seen on the grammar page, there are different word orders depending on the motive of the sentence. And it also states that if a verb can go both ways between the subject and object, then the word order would become SOV. This is where imperative and inquisitive words come in. Well, they're more like particles that mark it, but they are just words. So, in order to specify that an SOV sentence is an imperative sentence, you shall use the word imyi at the start of the sentence. For inquisitive sentences, we begin it with telei. Declarative sentences are just implied for SOV, as they're probably the most common for that to happen. Now we have possession. Now, I did not include this in the grammar page for some reason, but I suppose it is more of its own thing. It should just be explained separately as a little fun surprise. The way this works is the possessee comes before the possessor in the sentence, and the possessor is marked with the la suffix. So, we have the example, my food is good, which is English, and then we can reorder it to get like the raw way it's formatted for Wonen, which is good food my. And then we have tiaska kieta ila. So the la at the end of e is the possessor suffix, indicating that e, which is the first person pronoun, is possessing the food that is good. Now I'm going to just move on to some example sentences for that aren't really like in any categories. It's just like for fun to give you more examples of just in general, so you can give your brain a break. Here are the general example sentences, and I left them at the end of the video just as like a little treat for you to sort of relax and just sit back, have fun, and just give your brain a break from the learning of all of this stuff so we can just hear the nice sounds that we worked so hard to build up. So, I have 10 containers of food is the English, and then if we have to like sort of tear it apart and rearrange it in the running format, it would be I have 6 plus 4 containers. Containers have food, which would be itsatsa bega pasa tsatsa kieta a. And then the English sentence, the country is near the sea and it flooded because of it. Well, we can tear it apart and put it back together in the Wonen, like raw form of the near sea country flood because of the water. And then it would be in Wonen, katsum the ali sa ali kan ali tsadidin piktav katsum adan. Thank you for watching this. I worked very hard on it, even postponed all of this. This is getting released on Christmas Day as the present to just to everyone. And I hope you like, subscribe, comment, maybe share this. I don't really care. I just want it to get out there. Once it starts getting out there, that's when I can like slow down, like the everyone join. I just need to be brought up. Okay, so I hope you acknowledge that, and I will see you next time, which will probably be the Bilexish language, or me exposing Santa Claus as a very terrible man. So, see you next time, have fun, take care, and goodbye.